Welcome to the Dash Mindset Podcast. I'm Sherry Zievenbergen. You were born, you're gonna die, and your adventure is your dash in between. So make the most of it. Unlock your potential in all aspects of your dash by embracing your uniqueness and living in a way that's authentic to you, not by doing more things, but by focusing on the right things. I'm a former corporate leader turned coach who's on my own journey, and I'm passionate about helping you on your journey too. So on the podcast, we'll explore how to live authentically by deciphering who you truly are and what you truly want. Are you ready to take a step toward designing your dash? Someday doesn't actually exist, so let's do it now. Hey, welcome to my podcast. Thank you for being here. Today, I'm going to talk about getting curious with yourself. And here's an example of when I get curious with myself. You'll wonder where I'm going with this, but I'll get there, I promise. One of our cars, the one I drive the most, is a 2004 Toyota Camry. It has 261,000 miles on it, and the door for the gas cap is missing. Not broken, just gone. Now, I'm used to this kind of thing with vehicles. Every vehicle I've ever owned has been towed away at the end of its long life, and this one will be too. That's the way I roll. Relative to other things, I just don't care that much about what I drive. So some days I'm annoyed by it, and I wish my Camry would just die. Some days I don't. On the days I do kind of wish it would die, I remind myself why I choose to drive a car with 261,000 miles on it. My reason for having a car is to get places efficiently and safely, and to transfer kids and groceries. Otherwise, I could just get a bike or a moped. But otherwise, that's pretty much it, to get places. So there are several positives from my perspective to having an old car. I love the freedom to park wherever I want with zero concern about door dings. Zero. Also, I have zero interest in a car payment. I prefer investing in my business at this point and in experiences at this point rather than a car because I just want to get places. That's not the right choice for everyone. It's unlikely the right choice for you because everyone values different things. Right now, I'm working with a friend's teenage son, and my friend joined us when we met the other day. And he's a teenage boy. Of course, he's going to have different perspectives on cars, but this one's especially funny to me. So we were talking about differences in strengths and values, and my friend started talking about her car as an example of how her values are different from her son's. So she and her son have very different strengths, very different values, and as a result, their choices in cars are very different too. She was sharing that she drives her car because it's a gorgeous blue. It has all the bells and whistles, and she loves it. That's why she chose it. And this was clearly a conversation she and her son had had before, but he was so wildly confused and shared his distaste for her decision. He's very analytical. He's going to research, right? So he said, how can you make a decision based on that? A car decision should be based on data, lots and lots of data. And so, the whole idea of it just being blue and having bells and whistles, and because he's probably thinking in his mind, bells, really, Mom? Your car doesn't actually even have bells. But it was just so entertaining. And it was so clear that she was never going to agree with him. They would never agree. They will never agree. And it doesn't matter. It's her car. Her son isn't paying for it. She knows all the reasons for her decision, and she's happy with it. She's happy with the color and what she, believes to be bells and whistles. So several times a day, every day, I remind myself why I'm doing whatever I'm doing. And I don't always, but it's one of those things that when I remember, it's like, oh, right, that's right. This is the right thing for me. It's not always automatic. It's something I'm constantly working on. But when I do stop and think about it, I ask myself, why am I doing this? Is it something I truly need to do? Is it something I'm choosing to do? Why am I doing it? It's so easy to go through the motions of life and lose track of why we do the things we do, why we make the choices we make. We just act on autopilot a lot of the time because we need to function, right? So thinking about what's really a need versus something we feel obligated to do versus something we think we should do versus something we truly want isn't automatic, but it's so helpful when we actually do stop and think it through. So here's another example. An example of something I value that some people might disagree with. In fact, most people probably disagree with. I love going to fairs with my boys. The state fair in particular is my husband's version of hell. So he doesn't go, and that's fine. I love all the fairs, including the state fair, all the festivals, whatever. I love them. I eat that stuff up, literally. I took our boys to the state fair a couple weeks ago, and we had a blast and spent a ludicrous amount of money on food. At one point, I spent $9 on cheese curds. The regular ones were $8. Also ludicrous, but we wanted the dill pickle flavored ones, and they were an extra $1. An extra $1 for dill pickle flavored? Yes, please, because my 9-year-old loves pickles, and we both love the cheese curds at this particular stand at the state fair. It's what we do every year, and I love that that's an experience I have with my boys. It's more than cheese curds to me. It's that they know mom time at the fair involves trying lots of food, often fried and on a stick. That's their thing, and we love it. So I may drive a 2004 Camry to get to the fair. That's fine. It gets us there. And once we're there, I buy $9 cheese curds. This is likely considered ridiculous by a lot of people's standards. Absolutely ridiculous. In fact, sometimes I laugh a little thinking about the reaction some of the people in my life would have. $9 for cheese? Are you freaking kidding me? You pay to get into the fair, and then you pay for a bunch of fried food on sticks? Well, it's not all fried. It's not even all on a stick. We did have some $8 fruit smoothies as well, but otherwise, yes, mostly fried and on sticks. That is correct. That's what we choose to do, and we love it. Sometimes I even question some of my own choices by the end of the day, by the end of the fair in particular, when I feel my arteries start to clog. But overall, they're the right choices for me, as ludicrous as they might seem to others. So those are some examples of why I make some of the choices I make. Now, how about you? What are your reasons for driving whatever you drive? For going or not going to the state fair? For buying or not buying $9 cheese curds? And beyond that, what are your reasons for living where you live? What's your reason for listening to this podcast right now? Think about your upcoming week. Actually, no, start small. Let's start with tomorrow. What do you plan to do tomorrow and why? If you're working tomorrow, what's your reason for generating that report you generate? Does anyone actually even look at it? Is it something you've just always done? What's your reason for going to that meeting at 10 o'clock? Is it really necessary? Are other people from your team going too? And what's the purpose of the meeting? If you're not going to work tomorrow, if you have other plans tomorrow, what's your reason for doing whatever you're planning? Whatever your reasons, I encourage you to consider if they're good ones based on your standards. Are you happy with your reasons? Are you confident in your reasons? I clearly don't need to know the answers to any of those questions, but I hope you do for you. And if you don't, take some time to ask yourself and think about it. Why am I choosing to do or not do this thing? So get curious. The point is not to judge yourself or to shame yourself. The point is to understand and to consider if it's the right choice for you. I am hoping this helps you in some way, and maybe you'll plan to go to the state fair next year. Who knows? Have a good one. Thanks so much for listening to the Dash Mindset Podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe on your favorite podcast player, tell your friends, and leave us a review. Follow me on my social media platforms highlighted in the show notes, and get in touch with me at thedashmindset.com. Share the topics you'd like me to explore in future episodes. Thanks again for listening to the Dash Mindset Podcast. We'll see you next time. Design and differentiate your Dash your way and make today amazing.